You are live now, sir. Hari Om.
Yeah. Hari Om. Hari Om. Namaste to all. Prostrating at the lotus feet of Brahmanishta Sadguru, Swami Virajeshwara Saraswati, and the entire Guru Parampara, on behalf of all of us. Today's discourse on Viveka Chudamani will continue. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Mahasaraswatyai Namaha. Sadashivasamarambham Sri Shankaracharya Madhyamam Aspadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shruti Smruti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmiham Om Namo Bhagavate Virajeshwaraya Hari Om. Last time we had stopped at the shloka number 474. So from 475 onwards, today's discourse will continue. As was told last time, now Sri Shankara Bhagavad Pada now is concluding the Upadesha given to his Sachishya, the well-qualified Uttamadhikari disciple, in these shlokas, is a sort of the conclusion. So here, finally, Acharya tells the disciple, ಸಮಗ್ರವಾದ ತಮ್ಮ ಬೋಧನೆಯನ್ನ ಉಪಸಂಹಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಈಗ ಕೊನೆಯದಾಗಿ ಶಿಷ್ಯನಿಗೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಈ ಮುಂದಿನ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ತಟಸ್ಥಿತ ಬೋಧಯಂತೆ ಗುರುವಃ ಶ್ರುತಯೋ ಯಥಾ ಪ್ರಜ್ಞಯೈವ ತರೇದ್ವಿದ್ವಾನ್ ಈಶ್ವರಾನುಗ್ರಹೀತಯಾ. ತಟಸ್ಥಿತ ಬೋಧಯಂತೆ ಗುರುವಃ ಶ್ರುತಯೋ ಯಥಾ ಪ್ರಜ್ಞಯೈವ ತರೇದ್ವಿದ್ವಾನ್ ಈಶ್ವರಾನುಗ್ರಹೀತಯಾ. ಬಹಳ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದ, ಅತ್ಯಂತ ರಹಸ್ಯವಾದ, ಗೋಪನೀಯವಾದ ವಿಷಯವನ್ನ ಕೊನೆಯದಾಗಿ ಶಿಷ್ಯನಿಗೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ. ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ನೋಡಪ್ಪ ಶಿಷ್ಯ, ವತ್ಸ, ಗಮನ ಇಟ್ಟು ಕೇಳು. ಉಪನಿಷತ್ತುಗಳು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಶ್ರುತಿಗಳು ಸ್ವಯಂ ಸಿದ್ಧ ಪ್ರಮಾಣಗಳಾದ್ರಿಂದ ಆ ಉಪನಿಷತ್ತುಗಳು ಆ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ರಹಸ್ಯವನ್ನ, ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನವನ್ನ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಬೋಧನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾವೋ ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಸದ್ಗುರು ಸಹ ಬೋಧನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಿಳುವಳಿಕೆ, ಆ ಜ್ಞಾನವನ್ನ ಸದ್ಗುರು ಉಪನಿಷತ್ತುಗಳ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ತನ್ನ ಶಿಷ್ಯನಿಗೆ ನೀಡುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಆದರೆ ಅವರು ತಟಸ್ಥರಾಗಿ ಬೋಧನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ತಟಸ್ಥರಾಗಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಪರೋಕ್ಷವಾಗಿ, ಪರೋಕ್ಷವಾದ ಉಪದೇಶ, ಉಪನಿಷತ್ತುಗಳ ಸಂದೇಶ, ಪರಮಜ್ಞಾನದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ಆ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮತ್ತು ಆ ಗುರುವಿನ ಉಪದೇಶ, ಆ ಪರತತ್ವದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಯಾವತ್ತಿದ್ರು ತಟಸ್ಥ ಅಂತ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಪರೋಕ್ಷವಾಗಿದೆ, ಪರೋಕ್ಷವಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ವಿದ್ವಾಂಸನಾದಂತಹ ಉತ್ತಮೋತ್ತಮ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಯಾದಂತಹ ಶಿಷ್ಯ ಆ ಜ್ಞಾನವನ್ನ, ಶ್ರುತಿ ರಹಸ್ಯವನ್ನ, ಉಪನಿಷತ್ ರಹಸ್ಯವನ್ನ ಮತ್ತು ಗುರುವಿನ ಆ ಆಪ್ತ ವಚನವನ್ನ, ಗುರುವಿನ ಉಪದೇಶವನ್ನ ಸದಾಕಾಲ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಧ್ಯಾನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ, ನಿರತನಾಗಿ ಮನನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ, ನಿಧಿಧ್ಯಾಸನವನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಕೊನೆಗೆ ಆ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನಿಂದ, ಈಶ್ವರನಿಂದ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನಿಂದ, ಆತನ ಅನುಗ್ರಹದಿಂದ ಈ ಶಿಷ್ಯನಲ್ಲಿ ಉಂಟಾದಂತಹ ಜ್ಞಾನದಿಂದ ಆ ಶಿಷ್ಯನಿಗೆ ನೇರವಾಗಿ ಆ ಪರಮಜ್ಞಾನ, ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ಜ್ಞಾನ, ಆ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ವಸ್ತುವಿನ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನ, ಆತ್ಮ ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ಕಾರ ಉಂಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಜ್ಞಾನದಿಂದಲೇ ಆತ ಈ ಸಮುದ್ರ ತಂತಿರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಈ ಭವಸಾಗರ, ಈ ಸಂಸಾರ ಬಂಧನದಿಂದ ದಾಟಬೇಕು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದರ ಅರ್ಥ ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಉಪನಿಷತ್ಗಳು ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ, ರಹಸ್ಯವನ್ನ ಬಿಡಿಸುತ್ತೆ, ಉಪದೇಶವನ್ನ ಗುರುಗಳು ಮಾಡುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಆದರೆ ಅಷ್ಟರಿಂದಲೇ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನ ಉಂಟಾಗುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಆ ಯೋಗ್ಯ ಶಿಷ್ಯನ ಸ್ವಯಂ ಆತನ ಈ ಸಾಧನೆ, ಆತನ ದೃಢ ನಿಶ್ಚಯದಿಂದ ಕೂಡಿರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಆ ಮಾರ್ಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಮುನ್ನಡೆಯತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಸಾಧನೆ ಸ್ವಯಂ ಆತನೇ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಗುರು ತೋರಿಸಿದ ದಾರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಆತನೇ ಮುನ್ನಡೆಯಬೇಕು. ನಂತರ ಒಂದು ಹಂತದಲ್ಲಿ, ಕೊನೆಯ ಹಂತದಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನ ಅನುಗ್ರಹದಿಂದ ಉಂಟಾದಂತಹ ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನದ ತಿಳುವಳಿಕೆ ಸ್ವಯಂ ನೇರವಾಗಿ ಆತನಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಾಗ ಆತ ಈ ಸಂಸಾರ ಬಂಧನದಿಂದ ಬಿಡುಗಡೆ ಹೊಂದುತ್ತಾನೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದರ ಅರ್ಥ ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಸಾಧನೆಯ ಉತ್ತುಂಗ ಸ್ಥಿತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊನೆಯ ಹಂತ, ಆತ್ಮ ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ಕಾರದ ಹಂತ ಯಾವಾಗ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಆ ಸದ್ಗುರುವಿನ ಕೃಪೆಯಿಂದ ಅಥವಾ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನ ಕೃಪೆಯಿಂದ ಯಾವಾಗ ಈ ಹೃದಯದಲ್ಲಿ, ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಜ್ಞಾನದ ಸೆಲೆ ಉಂಟಾಗುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಅರಿವಿನ ಬೆಳಕು ತಾನೇ ತಾನಾಗಿ ಮೂಡುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಆಗ ಆತ ಆ ಪರಮ ರಹಸ್ಯವನ್ನು ಭೇದಿಸ್ದ ಅಂತ, ಮಾಯೆಯನ್ನು ಹರಿದ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ, ಮಾಯೆಯ ಜಾಲವನ್ನು ಕತ್ತರಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಆ ಕ್ಷಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಆತ ಮುಕ್ತನಾಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಈ ಜನ್ಮದಲ್ಲಿಯೇ ಈ ಶರೀರದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದುಕೊಂಡು ಆತ ಜೀವನ್ಮುಕ್ತನಾಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಸಂಸಾರ ಬಂಧನದಿಂದ ದೂರ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಆತನಿಗೆ ಪುನರ್ಜನ್ಮ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಆತ ಪರಮ ಜ್ಞಾನಿಯಾಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಇದು ಆಚಾರ್ಯರ ಉಪದೇಶ. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ tells here, ತಟಸ್ಥಿತಾ ಬೋಧಯಂತಿ ಗುರವಃ ಶ್ರುತಯೋ ಯಥಾ. ಶ್ರುತಯಃ means Upanishads. So the Sadguru, who himself is a Brahmajnani, imparts the knowledge, the jnana to the deserving disciple, to the deserving mumukshu, to the deserving devotee. Similarly, Upanishads also will explain the most secret and the sacred jnana, paramarahasya. Upanishads also will explain, they give out that secret of jnana itself. The Sadguru also doles out by way of his Upadesha Aptavakya to the Shishya the same jnana. But finally, Acharya says, next charana, prajnayeva tared vidwan ishvaranugrahitaya. Vidwan, Acharya calls here, to that able, deserving disciple, that uttamottamadhikari. Such a deserving disciple, following the footsteps of the Guru, following the orders of the Guru, whatever the Guru says, following, continuing his spiritual sadhana practices as ordained by the Guru. He is referred here by Acharya as Vidwan. So, Vidwan prajnayeva ishvaranugrahitaya taret. Taret means he gets over, crosses over the ocean of samsara. Taret means he crosses over the ocean of samsara. This bhavasagara means he becomes enlightened. He becomes illuminated. Atma sakshatkara occurs to him. Prajnayeva ishvaranugrahitaya taret. By the grace of God, the Uttamattama Adhikari, and also by his personal efforts which he has already put in, finally the grace of the God will work in the form of the dawn of the jnana. So by that dawn of the jnana, the Shishya will cross over the bondage, bandhana, and he becomes a Jivan Mukta while still living in the body. So that means ultimately what Acharya is talking here, Ishvaranugrahitaya prajnayeva vidwan taret. By the grace of the God and with the help of the jnana attained, the Shishya becomes illuminated. He becomes enlightened. He will know his true reality directly by direct perception. So, only by direct perception, by direct experience, he will come to know. It will be his own experience. For that, the Shrutis will add, they will help, they will aid, and Guru Saptavachana will also aid. Both will help. See, the point is very, very clear. We have to remember here. When Srimad Shankara Bhagavad established 4 Amnaya Pithas all over India, the first Pitham is the Sharada Pitham. He established in Sringeri in the Karnataka state in South India. Sringeri Sharada Pitham is also called, that's why, as a Dakshinamnaya Pitham, the very first mutt established by Srimad Shankara Bhagavad. So it is called Dakshinamnaya Pitham. So he anointed his disciple Sri Sureshwaracharya as the first Jagat Guru or Pithadipati of Sringeri Sharada Mutt, 1200 years before. Sri Sureshwaracharya, one of the 4 cardinal disciples of Bhagavad Pada, who wrote number of Vartikas on the commentary given by Adi Shankara on Upanishads. In fact, the Brodaranyaka Vartika written by Sri Sureshwaracharya is well known, very, very well known. It is one of the highest spiritual Prakarana Grantha in the annals of the Vedanta, in Advaitic Vedanta. Sri Sureshwaracharya also wrote Hashyam, explanation, in other words, on the Dakshinamurti Stotra written by his Guru Adi Shankaracharya. So such a towering personality. And Sureshwaracharya, at one place, he makes a wonderful, most pertinent comment, which is as good as referring to this shloka of his Guru only. Sri Sureshwaracharya says at one point that Shrutyacharya prasadena yogabhyasa vashena cha ishvaranugrahena swatma bodho yatha bhavet. Sri Sureshwaracharya says, Shrutyacharya prasadena yogabhyasa vashena cha ishvaranugrahena swatma bodho yatha bhavet. So here he mentions very clearly the purport of this shloka of Viveka Chudamani itself, what his Guru has already said. Shruti plus Acharya. Shrutyacharya prasadena. Prasadena means by the grace. By the grace. Anugraha. Krupa. By the Krupa, Anugraha, or the grace of Shruti means Upanishads. And Acharya means the preceptor, the Sadguru. Shrutyacharya prasadena. Yogabhyasa vashena cha. Following the disciple, following the path of the yoga, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, all ultimately merges in the Jnana Yoga, path of meditation, path of self-inquiry, Shavana, Manana, Nididhyasana, and ultimately he enters into from Savikalpa Samadhi to Nirvikalpa Samadhi, and in the Nirvikalpa Samadhi state, that is what Yogabhyasa Vashena. The disciple becomes perfect in this yoga and Abhyasa, then Sri Sureshwaracharya continues, Ishvaranugrahena swatma bodho yatha bhavet. Finally, by the grace of God, Ishvara Anugraheda, by the grace of God, Swatma Bodho Yatha Bhavet, the jnana will dawn within the self, Pratyagatma, and the disciple will become Atmanishta. He will become Atmajnana Sampanna. So the point here is all the efforts are required. Beginning, all sincere efforts are required. Sadhana has to be continued. Spiritual sadhana practices have to be done. And by completely surrendering at the lotus feet of the Guru and knowing very well that the Sadguru is none other than Ishvara himself, the Sadguru is none other than Parabrahmavastu himself, not differentiating between the Ishvara, the God, and Sadguru, totally with pure devotion, with determination. When the Mumukshu, Uttamadikari, continues his spiritual practices, finally, at the final stage, Acharya says, by the grace of the God, by the Krupa of the God, by the Krupa of Ishvara, the Jnana will dawn in. So enlightenment happens in a flash by the grace of the Almighty, not by personal effort. This is one. But personal efforts are required in the beginning. Without personal efforts, you will never reach the higher planes of spiritual sadhana practices. When you stand at the final pedestal, the door will open, the door of the knowledge will open when? By the grace of Almighty Himself, by the grace of the Self, by the grace of Pratyagatma Himself. So the Atma inside, nothing but Paramatma outside. The Atma inside, Pratyagatma, is nothing but Parabrahma Vastu. So that is what Acharya says. Tatastita Bodhayanti Guruvaha Shrutayo Yatha. So Upanishads will teach. The Guru will impart the knowledge. Guru also will give out Upadesh. But that is not enough, Acharya says. That means, if you take a book thinking that I am very intelligent, my grasping is very superb, I have got a wonderful reasoning power, my IQ is at the highest level, so all the time exerting your ego, depending on your ego factor, without losing an iota of the ego itself, ahankara. If I start thinking that by reading I will understand Upanishads, by thoroughly reading, examining Mahavakya, Mahavachanas in Upanishads, I will know the truth. Well, it is only superficial. It becomes only book knowledge, as our Gurudev used to always. By reading Upanishad, nobody will become a jnani. By simply reading and thinking that I have understood Upanishads very clearly and exposing the nature of the knowledge, hidden secret knowledge in the Upanishads to the others, that I know everything. That won't help because the ego is there. Still ahankara is there. See, the body-mind complex is still working. Sharirabhimana is still there. I am the body. So as long as that is there, nothing will work. That is why Acharya says, Tatastaha bodhayanti guruvaha shutayo yatha. So Upanishads, what they teach about the jnana, Tatastaha, they stand apart, neutral letters. So for all ajnanis with the ahankara, the seed of ego in the mind, if they think they can understand the meaning of Upanishad by themselves, it is nothing but ajnana only. So the letters are only dead letters. That is what Acharya means. Tatastaha, bodhayanti, guruvaha, shutayo yatha, shutaya yatha. So whatever they Upanishads are saying, we think we have understood. But it cannot happen like that. They are tatastha, they are neutral, they stand apart. That secret knowledge will dawn inside like a flash only by the perseverance and determined efforts, personal sadhana, the spiritual practices we undertake, totally surrendering our ego at the feet of the Guru or Lord, continuing the sadhana. And one fine moment, the God Ishvara will grace and the jnana will sprout, it will flash. So it happens by grace of the God, Ishvara, Guru, not by ourselves. That is the point here. Acharya is hammering and hammering and hammering. See, for example, to continue the same thing. If the Guru tells the Shishya, the disciple, that Tatvamasi, Mahavakya, Chandogya, if Guru goes on explaining about Tatvamasi, which in the Vivek Chudamani, Acharya is beautifully, in detail, he has dealt with long back. We have gone through. You are that only. Tvam tattasi, you are that only. So there ends the matter. There is no more to add. That is the final word. Mahavakya. You are that only. Means finished. So if the Guru tells 100 times to a Shishya who is not up to the level, who is a Manda Adhikari or Madhyama Adhikari or lower level Adhikari, he will think that Guru has told me, I am that only, so I am God only. You think that means realization, enlightenment? No. No. Uttamadhikari, when he understands, listens to the Guru Vachana, where the Guru himself speaks of the Upanishads, Mahavakya, Prajnanam Brahma, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, Ayamatma Brahma, Tatvamasi, like that. The deeper, significant meaning of those Mahavakyas uttered by Guru himself will enter into the heart during the sadhana. That will propel the sadhaka towards intense sadhana, deeper sadhana. Totally you have to believe in Guru Vachana, Apta Upadesha, and the Shrutis. They are self-pramanas, the Upanishad Vachana. Then with the help of the two, when I indulge myself with all sincerity in the spiritual practice, totally offering myself at the feet of the Guru or Lord, Guru or God, which are ultimately one and the same, then the Pratyekatma inside, the Atma inside the body is called Pratyekatma, or the self, capital S, will grace. That is called Anugraha. Only when it happens, enlightenment occurs. So these are the points here we have to remember very correct. So Acharya continues. Swanubhutya swayam jnatva swamatmanam akhanditam samsiddha sammukham tishtet nirvikalpatmanatmani. Swanubhutya swayam jnatva swamatmanam akhanditam samsiddha sammukham tishtet nirvikalpatmanatmani. ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಸ್ವಯಂ ತನ್ನ ನೇರವಾದ ಅನುಭವದಿಂದ, ನೇರವಾದ ಅನುಭವ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಪರೋಕ್ಷ ಅನುಭವದಿಂದ, ನೇರವಾದ ಅನುಭವದಿಂದಲೇ ತನ್ನ ಅಖಂಡವಾಗಿರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಆತ್ಮವನ್ನ, ಪ್ರತ್ಯೇಗಾತ್ಮವನ್ನ ತಾನೇ ಸ್ವಯಂ ತಿಳಿದುಕೊಂಡು ಸಂಸಿದ್ಧನಾಗಿ ನಿರ್ವಿಕಲ್ಪ ರೂಪದಿಂದ ತನ್ನಲ್ಲಿಯೇ ತಾನು ಆತ್ಮಾಭಿಮುಖನಾಗಿ ಆತ್ಮನಿಷ್ಠನಾಗಿ ನಿಲ್ಲಬೇಕು. ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಖಡಾಖಂಡಿತವಾದ ಹೇಳಿಕೆ. ತನ್ನ ಸ್ವಂತ ಅನುಭವದಿಂದ ನೇರವಾಗಿ ತನ್ನ ಆತ್ಮ ಸ್ವರೂಪವನ್ನ ತಾನೇ ತಿಳಿಯಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಸೇಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್, ಸ್ವಾನುಭೂತ್ಯ ಸ್ವಯಂ ಜ್ಞಾತ್ವ keywords. You have to realize yourself. You have to experience yourself directly, first hand. No doubt you have heard from the Guru. No doubt you have heard from Shrutis, Vachanas. But they are hearsay. You have to experience what has been told. So, Swayam Jnatva, keyword. Swanubhutya, by your own experience. Swanubhutya, Swayam Jnatva, Swamatmanam Akhanditam, Samsiddha Sammugam Tishtet, Nirvikalpatmanatmani. So, knowing his own absolute self, knowing your own absolute self, your own Pratyagatma, through direct realization, direct perception, and becoming perfect. A learned man, a mumukshu, should ultimately stand face to face before Atman. Samsiddha Sammukham Tishtet. You must stand face to face. These are the poetic style words used in the Charana by Bhagavad Pada hymn. You should stand face to face, and don't be literally under impression that there is a duality. You are different, Atma is different. No. It is only a way of expression. Sammukham, samsiddha sammukham tishtet nirvikalpatmanatmani. You should stand face to face before Atman with the mind free from duality. That is the point. So you have to realize yourself directly. Swanubhutya swayam jnatva swamatmanam akhanditam. Akhanditam swamatmanam swanubhutya swayam jnatva. You have to know yourself, the reality. There is no other way. There is no shortcut. No doubt Guru has told you. Guru is there. Preceptor is there. He has given you the Upadesha. Guru has given you the Upadesha. But you have to, he has shown the way to cross the ocean. He has shown the way to cross the river in full spate, flooded river. But you have to cross yourself the river to the other side of the shore. You have to cross the ocean yourself. Guru has shown the way. Upanishads have shown the way, the direction. So Guru is a pointer. Upanishads are pointers, but the pointers themselves cannot help you if you don't help yourself. ಉಪನಿಷತ್ ವಚನಗಳು, ಗುರುವಿನ ಉಪದೇಶ ನಮಗೆ ದಾರಿ ದೀಪಗಳು, ಮಾರ್ಗದರ್ಶಕ. ಆದರೆ ಸಮುದ್ರವನ್ನ ಲಂಘಿಸುವುದು ಹೇಗೆ, ದಾಟುವುದು ಹೇಗೆ ಅಂತ ಗುರು ತೋರಿಸ್ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಉಪನಿಷತ್ತುಗಳು ತೋರಿಸ್ಕೊಡ್ತವೆ. ಆದರೆ ದಾಟಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋದು ಸ್ವಯಂ ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಅನುಭವದಿಂದ, ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನದಿಂದ ಸಮುದ್ರವನ್ನು ದಾಟಬೇಕು. ಈ ಭವಸಾಗರವನ್ನು ದಾಟಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸಂಸಾರವನ್ನು ಜಯಿಸಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. So that is exactly what Acharya says here. You should stand face to face with the Atman, free from duality. In other words, one can sit face to face with one's self, in one's self, and by one's self. These are all English languages. Our Gurudev made it very simple. Our Gurudev's expression was so simple English. Once our Gurudev said about this very clearly. The self, capital S, not the small letter S, capital S, self denotes to your own Atma, Pratyagatma, inside the heart cave. Inside the cave of the heart means inside your buddhi, inside the Vijnanamaya Kosha, which illuminates your Vijnana, illuminates your buddhi. So that self, the self is realized within the self by the grace of the self. Our Gurudev's wording, look at the sentence. That self, Pratyagatma, nothing but Parabrahma. This Atma inside is nothing but the Parabrahma. No difference. Tattvamasi, you are that only. So my Gurudev said, the self is realized within the self by the grace of the self. So you cannot achieve the final goal by your effort. See, as long as you think that I am reaching, the ego is still there, ahankara is there, ego has to vanish complete. Ego has to be killed complete. Ahankara should go complete. Vasana should go. Ahankara should go. The mind should be destroyed. Manonasha. That means mind should become Vishuddha Sattva, purest of the pure. As long as Ahankara is there, you cannot reach, you cannot cross over. As long as ego is there, you are bound to the samsara by Maya. So how do you cross over the samsara? When the Maya is cut, the veil of the Maya is removed. That it happens when the ego is lost. Ego is totally lost. Ego is destroyed. Your individuality is destroyed. You are no more the body, no more the mind. You are nothing. You are nobody. So when you reach that final state of a nobody, where there is nothing like a me and a mine concept, ahankara, mamakara, both, they are gone. Then what happens? You are standing face to face with your own Atman. The self is there shining, and you are that self only. You are that self only. Nothing else. So our Gurudev was fond of his own statement. We are, at least some of us, we remember so clearly when he said, the self can be realized within the self by the grace of the self. Please ponder on this statement. The self can be realized within the self by the grace of the self. Atmana ಅನುಗ್ರಹದಿಂದ ಆತ್ಮನಲ್ಲಿಯೇ ಆತ್ಮದರ್ಶನವಾಗಿ ಆತ್ಮನಿಷ್ಠನಾಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಸ್ಥಿತಿ, ಜೀವನ್ಮುಕ್ತ ಸ್ಥಿತಿ. ಇದು ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನದ ಒಂದು ಸಂಕೇತ. Then finally, Acharya continues. 4th line shloka. That is the last shloka in this set of shlokas where Acharya is concluding. Final upasamhara. Vedanta siddhanta niruktiresha brahmaiva jiva sakalam jagatcha akhanda rupa sthitireva moksho brahmadvidiye shrutayah pramanam. Vedanta siddhanta niruktiresha brahmaiva jiva sakalam jagatcha akhanda rupa sthitireva moksho brahmadvidiye shrutaya pramanam. ಕೊನೆಯದಾಗಿ ಉಪಸಂಹಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ವೇದಾಂತದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ. ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಶಿಷ್ಯನಿಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ನೋಡಪ್ಪ, ವೇದಾಂತದ ಕಟ್ಟ ಕಡೆಯ ಉಪದೇಶ ಏನು? ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದ ಉಪದೇಶ ಏನು? ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದ ಸಿದ್ಧಾಂತ ಯಾವುದು? ಅದ್ವೈತ ಸಿದ್ಧಾಂತ. ಈ ಜೀವ, ಈ ಜೀವಾತ್ಮ, ಈ ಜೀವ ಮತ್ತು ಸಮಸ್ತ ಜಗತ್ತು, ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಜಗತ್ತು, ಜೀವ ಮತ್ತು ಜಗತ್ತು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಅವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಸ್ವರೂಪವೇ, ಬ್ರಹ್ಮವೇ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಮೇಲ್ನೋಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆಯಾಗಿ ತೋರಿಕೆ ಆದ್ರೂ ಒಳಭಾಗದಿಂದ ನೋಡಿದರೆ ಅಂತರದಿಂದ ಅವಕ್ಕೆ ಆಧಾರವಾಗಿರುವುದೇ ಆ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಪದಾರ್ಥ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಈ ಸಮಸ್ತ ವಿಶ್ವ, ಸಮಸ್ತ ಜಗತ್ತು ಮತ್ತು ಈ ಜೀವಾತ್ಮ ಇವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಸ್ವರೂಪ, ಬ್ರಹ್ಮದಲ್ಲಿಯೇ ಇವೆ. ಇವು ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಸ್ವರೂಪದಲ್ಲೇ ಇದೆ. ಇದನ್ನ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು, ಇದನ್ನ ಅರಿವಿಗೆ ಬರೋದಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಬ್ರಹ್ಮೈವ ಜೀವ ಸಕಲಂ ಜಗಚ್ಚ ಅಖಂಡ ರೂಪ ಸ್ಥಿತಿರೇವ ಮೋಕ್ಷ. ಇವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಅಖಂಡವಾಗಿದೆ, ಬ್ರಹ್ಮರೂಪವಾಗಿದೆ. ಇದೇ ಕೊನೆಯ ನಿರ್ಣಯ. ಈ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮವೇ ಅದ್ವಿತೀಯ. ಇದು ವೇದಾಂತ ಸಿದ್ಧಾಂತದ ಕೊನೆಯ ನಿರ್ಣಯ. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಉಪನಿಷತ್ಗಳೇ ಪ್ರಮಾಣ. ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾದ್ವಿತೀಯೇ ಶ್ರುತಿಯ ಪ್ರಮಾಣ. ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ವಸ್ತುವೇ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಸಮಸ್ತ ಜೀವಿಗಳು, ಈ ಜಗತ್ತು ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮವಸ್ತುವೇ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಆತ್ಯಂತಿಕವಾಗಿ ವಿವೇಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಇವಕ್ಕೆ ಆಧಾರ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಕೂಟಸ್ಥವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಇದೆ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ವಸ್ತು. ಜೀವಿಗಳಿಗೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಜಗತ್ತಿಗೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ವಿಶ್ವಕ್ಕೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಜೀವಿಗೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮವನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಜಗತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಜೀವಿಗಳಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾನಾಕಾರಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನಾ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಶ್ವ ಗೋಚರ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು, ಜೀವಿಗಳು ನಾನಾ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಅವುಗಳ ಮೂಲ ಸತ್ವ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ವಸ್ತು. ಅವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮದಲ್ಲಿಯೇ ನಿಂತಿದೆ, ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮದಲ್ಲಿಯೇ, ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನಲ್ಲಿಯೇ ನಿಂತಿರೋ ಸ್ಥಾಪಿತವಾಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಇದು ಉಪನಿಷತ್ತುಗಳ ಪ್ರಮಾಣ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಇರುವುದು ಒಂದೇ ವಸ್ತು, ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ, ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ, ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ವಸ್ತು, ಅಖಂಡ ಚೈತನ್ಯ ವಸ್ತು. ಜನನ ಮರಣ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಸದಾಕಾಲ ಏಕವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ವಸ್ತು ಯಾವುದು ಇದ್ರೆ ಅದು ನಿರಾಕಾರ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ತತ್ವ, ಪರಮ ಚೈತನ್ಯ ತತ್ವ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. So what Acharya says here, Vedanta Siddhanta Niruktiresha Brahmaiva Jiva Sakalam Jagat Akhanda Rupa Sthitireva Moksha Brahma Dvitiye Shrutaya Pramanam. So the final conclusive assertion of Vedanta, that is the Upanishads, is the Jiva, Jivatmas, individual jivas, and the whole universe, the entire universe, Vishwa, Jagat, are in fact Brahma only, Parabrahma only, Paramatma Tattva only. So this has to be understood, analyzed, and experienced. It happens when the dawn of the jnana occurs. Everything is Parabrahma Vastu. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. This is the famous statement, Vedantic statement. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. The outer, the Jagat, with all plurality, with varied nature, what it appears, they are not like that. It is Mithya, illusion, not real. But what reality, ultimately everything is one only. It has come from one only. From one only, Purnatma, the whole thing has come out in the varied forms. Plural, diversity, duality appears because of illusion, great illusion or Maya. That is why it is stated, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. Jiva is nothing different than Brahma. Tattvamasi Mahavakya means that. It doesn't mean that you yourself with your body-mind complex is Parabrahma Vastu. No. You sitting in front of me, I am sitting in front of you. We in this Vyavaharika Jagat, empirical world, we are different. There is duality. Acharya says, yes, there is duality. Nobody can say you sitting in front of me, I sitting in front of you are totally one. I have my own features, my own characters, my own individuality, my own body stature, my own level of thinking, and you differ from that. Like that, hundreds and hundreds of jivas differ. Like that, all other living organisms differ from one to another. Yes, in the empirical world, this Vyavaharik Satya is there. But when Acharya refers to the Vedantic point, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, what he means at the highest level, Acharya is talking from the highest point of the spiritual level, Advaita state. At the highest level, what is that inside? The pulsating cosmic force, cosmic principle, in all living, non-living, everything is only Brahma Padartha, Parabrahma Vastu. That super conscious supreme state of awareness that you cannot fathom. So, from that point of view, it is only one. There is only one. There is no second. So, the statement Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, after the dawn of realization, once you are enlightened, when you move in the world, empirical world, the jnani looks upon the world like you and me, but what he realized himself, and now he knows the truth. So he understands Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, but Brahma Rupena Jagat Satya. Brahma Rupena Jagat Satya. So he becomes a realized soul and he becomes a Samadarshi. He becomes a Samadarshi. In that sense, Jagat Satya. Brahma Rupena Jagat Satya. No doubt he will see a dog differently, it appears to his eyes. A cow appears differently to his eyes. A human being, man or a woman, appear differently. Young and old, they appear differently. Everything is there. Apparent differences are at the lower level, duality level. The world persists in duality, plural, due to the great Maya illusion. Jnani knows it. But he knows inside the varied, variegated nature of the Jagat, diversity of the Jagat, the diversity of the entire living organisms, there is only one underlying utastha, underlying principle, Parabrahma Vastu. Everything has come. The base is Parabrahma Vastu. The whole Jagat manifestation is from that Avyakta one, unmanifest. Avyakta. It has come out, expressed itself in the form of Jagat, universe, diversity, varied. But ultimate Satya is only Brahma Padartha, Parabrahma. Jnani knows it correctly. So he is a Samadarshi, Pandita Samadarshina. Please remember what Lord said in Bhagavad Gita. Very, very famous statement in that shloka. Suddenly, I'm not able to remember the shloka. Brahmane Gavihastini, Shunishaiva Shapakecha, Pandita Samadarshina. Pandita Samadarshina. So a jnani becomes a Samadarshi there. Within the diversity, underlying unitary principle he recognizes. There is only one Parabrahma Vastu inside everything. So that is the point here. Brahmaiva Jiva Sakalam Jagat. Akhanda Rupa Sthitireva Mokshaha. Brahmadvitiye Shutaya Pramana. Akhanda Rupa Sthiti Eva Mokshaha. So what here Acharya means, abiding in the form, in that ultimate truth, that there is Brahma Padartha, only one without second, Ekam Eva Advitiyam. In that form of infinite, there is only one Vastu without second. This is what the Shrutis confirm, what Shrutis say. And Shrutis are the main proof. Brahmadvitiye Shrutaya Pramana. So ultimately Acharya says, Akhanda Rupa Sthitireva Mokshaha. Third chapter. Akhanda Rupa Sthiti Eva Mokshaha. So what he means here? Liberation, moksha, enlightenment, salvation, liberation, crossing over the samsara, crossing over the binding, bondage, bandhana, whatever it is called. So that liberation is nothing but abiding in the form of the infinite. Knowing by first hand, directly perceiving that I am that Brahma Swarupa. neither I am born nor I will die. There is only one vastu, I am there everywhere. Everything is there everywhere. Only I in the form of I is there. Only I am, that I amness is there, nothing else. So liberation means abiding in that form of infinite. So by constant spiritual practices, sadhana, the seeker is seeking something. The seeker here is the mumuksha, jnana. He is seeking something. He wants to know the reality. What is this reality? What is my true nature? Who am I really? So the seeker, a spiritual seeker who is very sensitive, who is very intense, very concentrated in his spiritual practice, he is constantly dwelling on the fact that who am I really? So he is searching the reality. He is a seeker of the truth. Mumukshu is a seeker of the truth. Not ordinary mumukshus, but the serious, higher level, uttamadikari, imbibing the knowledge, upadesha given by Sadguru. He is constantly seeking the reality, source of the reality. He is called the seeker. So by constant sadhana, by spiritual practice, ultimately aided by the grace of the Guru, finally, or God or Ishvara, by the grace of the Guru or God, the seeker finally merges with infinitude, Parabrahma. In other words, the seeker ultimately becomes the sought. What he was seeking, he becomes that only. He merges in the infinitude. It is only a physical way of expression, merges. Again, there is no duality. Parabrahma Vastu is different, seeker is different, he merges with that, two becomes one. No. For the saying sake, it is said like that, he merges, means he will know his true reality. Ultimately, who I am. I am that Vastu only, I am that Padartha only, I am that only, I am that supreme. In other words, I am that Parabrahma Vastu only. That is what is meant by the seeker merges with infinite. Parabrahma. So, in other words, there is no more plurality, no more duality. The Dvaita will vanish, duality will vanish. So, the absence of duality is the experience of the reality, Advaitic state. I repeat, the absence of duality finally means experience of the reality. There is only one. Nothing else. I am the one. That's all. Nothing else. I means here not the ego. I means here that Pratyagatma himself, the self. The self is only one. There is only one. There is only self. Nothing other than self anywhere. There is only Parabrahma Vastu. There is only God. Nothing other than that. This is the highest state of direct perception of reality. This is the ultimate truth. This is the final truth. This is the final truth. Absence of diversity, duality is experience of reality. That is nothing but realization. So here, the Acharya now, in one sense, has concluded the Vedantic knowledge in the form of Upadesha. So far, he has given to the Shishya. Now, the next set of shlokas refer to the experience of the disciple himself. That is a personal experience, Atmanubhava, personal experience of the disciple. After listening all the while, the Upadesha given by the Sadguru, Now what happens? The Sachishya, the disciple, Uttamadikari, after thoroughly imbibing, absorbing the entire Upadesha, he becomes very intense in his spiritual practice. He selects a lonely place. He sits there constantly reflecting, reasoning the Guru Vachanas, Upadeshas given by Guru, and the Shruti Vachanas told by Guru, and he constantly contemplates and then enters into meditative state. And during his one-pointed concentrated meditation, when he undergoes deeper and deeper, he dwells into the state of meditation. Finally, by the grace of God, by the grace of Guru, he becomes enlightened. So what happens that? How it happens and what are his experiences? Now they form the next very important part of Viveka Chudamani. So the Atmanubhava, personal experience of the disciple will continue. Iti Guruvachanat Shruti Pramanat Param Avagamya Satatvamatmayuktya Prashamita Karanaha Samahitatma Vachitachalakruti Atmanishtato Bhavut Guruvachanat Shruti Pramanat Param Avagamya Satatvamatmayuktya Prashamita Karanaha Samahitatma Vachitachalakruti Atmanishtato Bhavut. So here, ಈ ರೀತಿ ಸದ್ಗುರುವಿನ ಉಪದೇಶದಿಂದ ಮತ್ತು ಶ್ರುತಿ ವಚನಗಳಿಂದ, ಉಪನಿಷತ್ತುಗಳ ವಚನಗಳಿಂದ, ಮಹಾವಾಕ್ಯಗಳಿಂದ ಮತ್ತು ತನ್ನ ಯುಕ್ತಿಗಳಿಂದ, ಸತತವಾದ ಮನನದಿಂದ ಆ ಶಿಷ್ಯನು ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ತತ್ವವನ್ನ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಇಂದ್ರಿಯಗಳನ್ನ ನಿಗ್ರಹಿಸಿ ಚಿತ್ತವನ್ನ ಶುದ್ಧೀಕರಿಸಿ ನಿರುದ್ಧಗೊಳಿಸಿ ಏಕಾಂತ ಪ್ರದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಶ್ಚಲನಾಗಿ ಕುಳಿತು ಬ್ರಹ್ಮನಿಷ್ಠನಾದನು, ತನ್ನ ಸಾಧನೆಯನ್ನ ಮುಂದುವರೆಸಿದನು. So having thus understood the supreme truth, Tattvajnana, having understood the supreme truth on the authority of the Upanishads, Shrutis, and also the instructions, Upadesha by the Sadguru, and by his own reasoning power, the disciple, the Uttamadikari, the Shishya, with all the senses under his control, with a total controlled mind, he sat in one lonely place, motionless, deeply analyzing, reflecting, analyzing on the Shruti Vachanas and the Aptavakya of the Guru, Udesha of the Guru. He sat motionless. He entered into deep meditative state in a lonely place. Kinchit kalam samadhaya pare brahmani manasam yuthaya paramananda adidam vachanam abravit. Kinchit kalam samadhaya pare brahmani manasam yuthaya paramananda adidam vachanam abravit. ಈ ರೀತಿ ಉತ್ತಮ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಯಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಮುಮುಕ್ಷು ಏಕಾಂತದಲ್ಲಿ ಮನಸ್ಸನ್ನ ಸ್ಥಿರಗೊಳಿಸಿ ಧ್ಯಾನಮಗ್ನನಾಗಿ ಅಚಲ ನಿಷ್ಠೆಯಿಂದ ಇಂದ್ರಿಯಗಳನ್ನ ಬಿಗಿ ಹಿಡಿದು ಮನಸ್ಸನ್ನ ಬಿಗಿ ಹಿಡಿದು ಧ್ಯಾನದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂತಾಗ, ಆತ ಸಮಾಧಿ ಸ್ಥಿತಿಲಿ ಹೋದಾಗ, ಗುರುವಿನ ಅನುಗ್ರಹದಿಂದ ಆ ನಿರ್ವಿಕಲ್ಪ ಸಮಾಧಿ ಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಉಂಟಾದಾಗ ಆತ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆತ್ಮಾನುಭವನ್ನ ಹೇಗೆ ಪಡೀತಾನೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಯಿತು, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಆತ್ಮ ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ಕಾರದ ಅನುಭವ ಆಯಿತು, ಅದರಿಂದ ತಾನೇ ತಾನಾಗಿ ಸಮಾಧಿ ಸ್ಥಿತಿಯಿಂದ ಹೊರಬಂದು ಪರಮ ಆನಂದದಿಂದ, ಪರಮೋತ್ಸಾಹದಿಂದ, ಆ ನಿಜಾನಂದದಿಂದ, ಪರಮಾನಂದದಿಂದ ಆತನ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಆನಂದ ತುಂಬಿತ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ಕಾರ ಆಗೋಯ್ತು ಆ ಶಿಷ್ಯನಿಗೆ. ಆಗ ಬಹಳ ಸಂತೋಷದಿಂದ, ತೃಪ್ತಿಯಿಂದ, ಆನಂದದಿಂದ, ಪರಮಾನಂದದಿಂದ ಗುರುವಿಗೆ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. Kinchit kalam samadhaya pare brahmani manasam yuttaya paramananda adidam vachanam abravit. So here Acharya says that after sitting alone in a lonely place with total controlling the mind and all the senses, the Uttamadhikari Jijnasu, the Shishya, the disciple, finally enters into the deeper and deeper levels of meditation by the grace of Satguru. So as he continues, Kinchit Kalam Samadhaya, this is only a phrase, poetic phrase Acharya writes. For some time he stood himself still, entered into meditative state. In a lonely place, he went and sat without being disturbed by surrounding environment, totally controlling the mind under total concentration for some time. Kinchit kalam samadha. So he established his mind in that paravastu, brahmavastu, supreme parabrahmavastu. Then what happened? The lightning occurred. The enlightenment like a flash occurred in his mind, in his brain. So he got up. Due to prarabdha, now he woke up from that experience after the flash of enlightenment, after the flash of realization. He himself became a ocean of bliss. His mind was filled with the ocean of Paramananda. He became supremely blissful. He got up, he woke up, opened his eyes, came to the Guru, to his Guru, and stood there with folding hands, with the eyes blazing, with the bliss pouring from his lips and face, the face radiating itself, with the tears flowing down, what we call Ananda Bashpa, the tear of joy flowing down from his eyes, with the folded hands. He prostrates again to the Guru and starts now explaining his experiences, first-hand experience to the Guru himself. Kinchit kalam samadhaya pare brahmani manasam Vittaya Paramananda Adedam Vachanam Abravit. Then he spoke with joy. He spoke with extreme joy, with folded hands to his Guru. So the next set of shlokas now constitute exactly what happened during realization. How the enlightenment occurred. How the disciple got over the Maya, crossed over the great delusion of Maya. How the Maya was cut, and what is that in the supreme state of awareness, how the self graced him, and how he became totally, directly perceived that nature of Atma. How he came out of the bondage, how he became really free from samsara, how he became a Jivan Mukta himself by the grace of the Guru. So with all the feelings, with all the joy, with blissful nature, he pours out in front of the Guru his experiences of realization, his own experience of realization, knowing the reality. That is very important. Now, the next long set of shlokas will continue. Now, these shlokas are nothing but direct exposition of the disciple to the Guru. So far in the Viveka Chudamani, the entire thing, nearly this 478 shlokas, what happened mainly, the Guru was explaining everything to the Shishya. Now, from the shloka number 480, now the Shishya himself, disciple himself will explain his own personal experiences of joy. So with the Guru Sankalpa, I am stopping here at this Shloka 479. We'll continue next week. Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama. 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 Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you, sir. Dhanyavad for the meeting. Amazing, amazing. Amrita Varshini every week. Yes,
Ambrosia, nectar flowing by Acharya,
yes, sir.
in which we're all drenched.
Amazing, sir. Dhanyavad. Hari Om.